Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome to non-anime review. Today we're actually having an anime discussion because I kind of miss doing these once in a blue moon. I miss making YouTube videos, and recently with the recent release I did of Link Click, which did okay, got like 60 views, which was happy for me, maybe less than that. But it's okay for me because that's honestly what I care about is not views. I care about people just watching it. That's all fine with me. And I got some interesting comments and stuff like that from that. But aside from that though, let's talk real fast about anime in the olden days. So if you guys were around the 80s, which I mean, I wasn't around the 80s, but I do know some of my friends that were in the 80s, etc. Anime was a whole different beast when it came to where you watched it at. It wasn't like today. We have a lot of options to watch anime, and that's kind of the main topic we're going to talk about, but we're going to backtrack a little bit because we got to kind of set up for that. You could watch anime everywhere nowadays. The anime seems to be every single website in any forms. It's crazy. In the 80s, even the early 90s, watching anime was kind of a thing that you only really did if you were from Japan. In America, yes, anime was starting to get a little bit more noticed, yes, because we started having more shows like Robotech, Dragon Ball, etc. But it still wasn't readily available. You couldn't go and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go rent out a Blu-ray of a series, or only go on a subscription service and watch it, or buy an anime." No, it wasn't like that. It was very hard to watch anime if you were in America. You know, Especially the '90s, which is where I'm from. The '90s was also the same way. It was very hard. It was a little bit readily more available, but we'll talk about that in a second too. But kind of going back and digressing back to what I was saying about the '80s, it was if you wanted to watch a show like Fist of the North Star, or again like Robotech, you had to hope to God those things were on TV because it was very rare that you would ever see an anime on TV back then. In the '90s, you had more shows, like more channels would play. Like for example, Toonami, Cartoon Network. They had all these readily available anime. We started seeing with the rise of like on-demand services, like for example, Cablevision and which is now Optimal. But Cablevision back then used to have a thing where you could watch anime now, which had a whole bunch of different anime on there. Not a lot, but they had stuff like early '90s, 2000s cartoons and stuff like that in anime, obviously. But it was hard. It was very, very difficult to watch a series you wanted to watch because if you weren't from Japan, it wasn't really popular. Anime has only really been growing more in the last couple decades, and really kind of like the early 2000s, mid 2000s is when anime started popping up everywhere. You start seeing it in stores, you start seeing it in blockbusters, and if you guys remember blockbusters, Hollywood videos, if you remember Hollywood video, but all those places you start seeing it, and it was a lot easier to find. It was a lot easier to get a hold of. You could watch shows now on VHS, you could watch shows on DVD, you could watch shows on Blu-ray. It didn't exist back then. It was VHS. Like in the '90s, I watched Guyver on VHS. That was how I watched it. I watched the first like I think two parts on VHS, and then I had to like struggle to find the third part because it was split into like three parts. It was a pain in the ass. I'll just say that right off the bat. But Berserk stuff like that was not easy to get. It was a pain in the butt. Dragon Ball Z, another VHS thing that it took me forever. I remember when I was a kid to watch it because it was on Cartoon Network, but it was always at weird times, and it was just at one point it was when I was just getting out of school, but to get from school to home, it was like around like an hour and a half journey. It seemed like, yeah, it wasn't the best thing in the world back watching anime back then. Nowadays, it's everywhere. I am amazed that if you don't go to a toaster and find some kind of subscription service that has you watching anime, like legit, it just doesn't seem like anime is not available on some platform. Hulu has it. You have HiDIVE, you have Crunchyroll. Funimation's kind of dying out, but they're partnered with Crunchyroll, so technically it's not dead. You have like a billion of services. Netflix. You have what else? I said Hulu already. I think if I didn't, apologize. YouTube has some anime they want to Blue Moon produce. It's everywhere. It's legit everywhere. That brings me to my main point today. Is anime available on too many subscription services? See, here's the problem. Here's what I think ultimately is going to happen if they don't change this up a little bit. So, as of recent, I know it's the last like 5 years, I'm going to say, not even, maybe even like 3 years, I'm going to say. Anime was not available on every subscription service. Like if you went to Disney, you couldn't find anime. Disney Plus is a newer thing, I know, but I'm trying to get it. If you went on HiDive, it was there, obviously. But if you wanted stuff like, trying to think like Netflix, it was here and there. It was like a lot more still that not were produced by them. It was more produced by companies. Obviously, they just pumped it out onto Netflix. Now, every single one of these subscriptions I just mentioned has their own production of some sort of show on there or some form of an anime coming out. And then there's the whole added fact now that if you don't have a VPN, which is a virtual private network thing, if you don't have that, you can't even watch some anime on those services without being registering in other countries. So you can't be like, oh, let me change my my code of where I'm at to show I'm in like another country, and then this anime that I want to watch will show up. Like if you're not from Japan, some shows from on Disney will not be available there, et cetera, et cetera. It's a weird mishmash of things you have to do. Like it's like almost a challenge to watch some anime sometimes. I think this is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. I don't think anime should be so like everywhere. Like, I don't get me wrong. I'm happy that now you have so many ways for people to watch anime. So now you have people like on Hulu that could watch Hulu, and maybe they're browsing through like something that they need to watch, and they're like, oh hey, this show looks pretty cool. We can watch that. Bleach fans, obviously, if you have Hulu, you can watch the newest thing, 1,000 Year War, on there, which is awesome. By the way, definitely get Hulu for that. It's freaking good. So, Bleach right now, the newest season is amazing. It's I give them so much credit for that, like how they played so much homage to the original, but while keeping this new age version of it, like making sure that it looks very new age, but at the same time still looks and feels like the original one. If that makes sense. It's complicated, but it's really good. I'm just gonna say that I don't want to spoil things. That's why I'm also afraid of talking about too much. But there are an obscene amount of places to watch anime, and it makes it where, okay, so let's assume you don't have the means of buying 20 subscription services, which is understandable. Subscription services are not cheap anymore. Yeah, Crunchyroll is like what, like $8 a month, maybe a little more than that. I'm sorry if I'm not correct with the prices because I didn't look at the prices beforehand. But it's not the point of this. I'm not gonna try to start bashing what companies doing what with that. That's why I really even care about that. It's more so though, you have so many subscription services that you have to start paying like $15 here, $14 here, $12 here, $8 here, $10 here for all these subscription services. You can look at like almost $100 in subscription service. And now what's even worse is like certain shows are only available at HiDIVE, or certain shows are only available at Crunchyroll, or certain shows are only available on Hulu. It's a little much, don't you think? Like, again, it's awesome. More people get to watch shows, more people get to start loving anime, but it puts the anime fans in that are already anime fans, the ones that really want to watch all these great shows, it kind of a catch-22, because now they have to go, well, if I want to watch this show, either A, I wait for it to come on Blu-ray, which anime coming on Blu-ray is not like it used to be. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but it used to be anime would come out almost like a movie, where Blu-ray would come out maybe like a year or two after it released on whatever front it released on. If it was on Crunchyroll, it would take like a year or two. Funimation would almost be like a year and a half, not even a year sometimes. It was really coming out pretty fast. But now like services like Amazon Prime and stuff like that has like recreators on there, and I also believe it has Yushiki on there, which are great shows. No Blu-ray release if you don't want, if there's other ways of getting it, but I'm not going to talk about those because you don't want to obviously do anything shady. But you can't get those readily. You can't buy them on Blu-ray or DVD. It's making it where you have to really pay into those things if you want to even watch them, or you can't even just say, oh, I'll just wait for it to come out, because it's not going to come out. It's going to be always on those subscription services, because that's how they make their money, is making sure that, okay, let's just put it on here, let people watch it nonstop, get us the ad revenue, get us the money from watching it, and just keep running it that way. Versus if anything comes on Blu-ray, I don't want to say they lose money on it, but they do kind of lose some revenue on it, because now once you buy it, that's it. It's yours. There's no like I have to keep paying to watch a Blu-ray. Thank you God. Please don't ever let that happen. We have to constantly keep paying to watch a Blu-ray. That'd be so annoying. But if you have a Blu-ray or if you have a DVD of something, you can just watch it a million times. That's fine. If you have it on a Crunchyroll, if you have it on Funimation, if you have it on Hulu, you have to deal with the ads, or you have to pay for the services, all that stuff. It starts adding up, and it makes it where it's not easily able to be watched. What I'm kind of getting at though is, I think it's just, my thoughts are like this. I'm not saying there should be only one dedicated place to watch anime. That'd be kind of a little ridiculous, because I mean, obviously, then no company would make money. You'd always have to battle it out with all these other shows that come out, because obviously, also, not every show that comes out is great. Let's be real. As many shows have been coming out of HiDIVE. HiDIVE to me is still one of the weaker places for anime. Like, I don't hate HiDIVE. I like HiDIVE. I'm subscribed to HiDIVE, but it doesn't have that many great shows. A lot of the shows are like the lesser known shows. I mean, like, it does have stuff like Call of the Night, which was amazing. I love that show. It's such a great freaking anime that no one knows about because it was on HiDIVE of all places. But and I'm quitting Heroing, which was also on HiDIVE, which was a great show. It had problems here and there, but it still was a really cool kind of like dark fantasy type show. But ultimately now you get this issue where, yeah, okay, we can't put all the anime in one spot, obviously, because revenue purposes and always battling it out. But then you get this mishmash of like, okay, so you can get HiDIVE, and as great as that is, HiDIVE will only have maybe one show you like, and then 50 other shows you don't like. So now you have to either go, well, I'm gonna cancel my subscription for them and just resubscribe again, and then whatever. It's a lot of like resubscribing, unsubscribing. There's a lot to it that I feel like is ridiculous now to watch anime. Is there a solution to this though? And that's where I have like an issue with it, because the solution that I thought of earlier is what I said earlier. You put all the anime in one spot, but then also again, I understand from a revenue source that's not the best idea. You basically will make it where that's the only way you can watch anime. It's not going to work. It's not going to work out for anyone. Ultimately, it's going to make it where the anime companies and the studios and producers are going to lose money because now it's only one place to watch anime, and some of their shows are just going to get pushed aside while other shows are going to be recognized. But then I thought of this in a kind of interesting mechanism where Netflix is probably one of the better places in terms of, you have all these anime on there now. You have obviously movies and stuff like that. Why don't they do that? Why don't they try to take that gamble? Why don't you have, most of the companies put into like a Netflix type subscription all the anime coming out and have it just from there? Because ultimately, yes, it might be where your show gets lost in the kind of sea of things, but you would have it where you can at least take the chance because all anime is there instead of just one show there, or you're paired against 5 shows. You're paired up against like 30 shows. Sure, that's a lot of shows, but I think you could watch each show. And when people get bored and like, oh, hey, I want to watch something else, they go to your next show. They go to look around because that's what Netflix. That's what you don't we do that already? Netflix and Hulu. When you're really bored, you go to this. You scroll through. You maybe type in a genre and you're like, oh, this show looks pretty good, or this movie looks pretty good. You watch it. It's kind of what how anime. I mean, still anime still kind of has that functionality right now because we don't all just hear about it off of anime news sites. Sometimes we just find it. I'm someone that I hear some things about the grapevine, like, oh, this show might be pretty good, or this show's gonna be interesting. I'll watch it for that reasoning, or I might be because my second job, I might be assigned to a show and I've never heard of it, and I'll just watch it and I'll be like, oh, this is pretty cool, I like it. But I don't need to do that. I feel like I could also just randomly go about and find stuff, and then be like, oh, this show is really cool. Then word of mouth spreads, and while I don't have the most popular voice, obviously, I know that other people that I do know have popular voices more than me, and I'll tell them, and they might watch it, they might like it, and then they start spreading it out, and et cetera, et cetera. It's just like how movies and TV shows work currently, because obviously that's how things work. I just, it's like this is more like almost like a rant at one point, but I just feel like there's too many ways to watch anime. It's getting to the point that you have to pay almost like $100 a month on different subscription services just to watch all the anime if you want to watch. It's like, yeah, I don't have to watch all the anime. Like obviously I can do with certain shows, I can do without certain shows. But as an anime fan who's seen like over 1,000 shows before in my life, and I still watch a lot of anime, like I at least every month watch about like 6 or 7 different shows. You know, to me, the best way to do that is not having to pay so many different subscription services to watch shows. I would just prefer one nominal fee, or to buy it on Blu-ray eventually. Because I mean, I do. If you guys don't know, I have tons. Like the back right there, those are most of my more expensive anime. But that doesn't see you don't see it on the video, and I'm not gonna show it only because it's a mess right now. But there's like a ton of Blu-rays there. There's a Blu-rays there. There's Blu-rays over here. I own a lot of anime. Like that's the whole point. Like if I go up onto this my shelf right here, there's anime up there too. That's how much I own in terms of Blu-rays and stuff like that because I am a collector. But at least to that makes sense because I want to be able to then watch it whatever I want. I can watch it whatever I want. I don't have to pay $1,000 every freaking other month or every year to watch stuff. I can just watch whatever I want. Here's a question for you guys and girls: is there a way to make it where anime is not available on every dang subscription services out there? Like, is there a way to maybe conjoin all anime studios to kind of come together and go, you know what, let's put it on one platform, make it so people just can watch it here. That's it. Like again, I have ideas, but I don't think any of them will work. It's there's like a lot of, I know obviously anime is not cheap. Anime is a very expensive media. I don't care who is an anime fan or not an anime fan, but you have to realize that making anime is probably one of the most expensive things ever. Like, I don't think people realize how much a single episode sometimes of One Piece or Bleach or any of these shows, Naruto, Boruto, etc. These shows cost a lot of money. I mean, I'm just naming the big shows. There's other, obviously, Chainsaw Man. Some of the stuff. Have you seen some of the visuals for Chainsaw Man? Berserk. All these shows, when you do a single episode, can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, more sometimes. There are some shows on document that cost $1 million per episode to make, almost. That's because you pay the people that input the art. You pay people to do the animation for things. You pay so many different forms in so many places that all that what episode comes out to be is like millions of dollars. It's crazy. But you know, I get it that at the end of the day, anime is a business. It's like anything else. We have movies. We don't put all our movies in one spot either, because sometimes you have things that come out on like subscription services too for movies, which it's everything now subscription services, which kind of annoys me. Like I mean, I get cable is a more expensive output still, but at the same token, I don't think people realize that if you want to get subscription services, and then you have to get also good internet service, and then you also have to get a good everything else for it to run it, cost this much too. You can look at a lot of money too just doing it that way. So it's like you might save yourself some money here. And then you people talk about the Fire Sticks and all that. And Fire Sticks, yeah, I mean they're a way of doing things too. But again, you have to rely on this. You have to rely on that. It's like it's a lot of it's too many ways to watch anime. It's the bottom line. It's too many ways and too many subscription services available to watch anime. That's my biggest complaint about it. That's why I leave you guys with a question in the comments below. What do you think would save anime in terms of would it be better if we put it into just one subscription, if we put it in like a few only, or have like maybe dedicated channels for it, whatever, on cable? What do you guys think would work? And if you guys think have no idea whatsoever, let me know also in the comments, because it's understandable. There's a lot of things that could work, but also a lot of things that it doesn't make sense, and you just you really have no idea how it would work or how it even function. Anyways, guys, this is a very long video, but I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, until I talk to you guys in the next review, well, it's not a review, but you know what I mean. I'll have a great one, everyone. God bless you all. I love you all. Bye.